If you've over 20 pounds of belly fat to lose, I'm going to share with you the exact 4-step metabolic priming method system we've used with 798 entrepreneurs, business owners and creative professionals so they can lose weight sustainably. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to lose some of that stubborn belly fat, but most importantly, keep it off long term. Now, if you are new to the channel, my name is Adrian McDonnell. I'm a full-time online health and fitness coach, and we help creative professionals all over the world lose weight sustainably. Now, chances are if you're watching this video, you've probably tried to lose weight before. Maybe you tried things like carnivore, keto, intermittent fasting, vegan diets. I've heard it all in consultation calls. But I would guess if you're watching this, your biggest challenge has not been losing weight, but to keep it off long term. And the problem with yo-yo dieting where your weight decreases, it increases, it decreases, it increases, and you're in this never-ending cycle is, number one, it can actually cause havoc and play havoc in your metabolism. Number two, it's not good for your hormones. But number three, not only is it bad for your energy, but it's also really bad for your self-confidence. Because every new time that you try to lose weight again, your confidence is ruined from your past experience, resulting in you losing hope in your own ability. So that is why we created our 4-step metabolic priming method, which I'll speak you through so you can lose weight sustainably. Okay, so phase number one is what we call our metabolic reset, and it's built on 6 main pillars. First of all, optimize your food environment. If a food is in your house, sooner or later it's going to be eaten. So you don't want to slay the dragon. Just eliminate all of the junk food in the house. Second of all, it's going to be reduce or eliminate trans fats and alcohol. For at least the first 30 days, we ask our one-on-one clients to do. Why is it important? First of all, alcohol, what does it do? It causes inflammation in the gut, in your body. Same with trans fats. Trans fats, for anyone who doesn't know, they're found in things like ultra-processed foods, refined carbohydrates and takeaways, particularly the oils they use to cook some of the food. So if you replace those things with pillar number 3, drinking more water, that's a fantastic way to reduce and lower your inflammation, okay? How much water should you drink per day? We recommend our one-on-one clients at least 30 to 50 milliliters per kilo of body weight. And if you do that in conjunction with pillar number 4, following the main principle of our metabolic priming diet, this is key. So our metabolic priming diet is built on a few main pillars. First of all, 90-10 single ingredient whole foods. What that means is at least 90% of your calories, not your foods, come from single ingredient whole foods. Secondly is that you have a plant and a protein at every single meal. Ideally, if you're watching this, you should be consuming at least 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. This is going to help preserve and build muscle. Number 3 is that we cycle your carbohydrates based on your activity. Think about carbohydrates. What do? They give the body energy. So you need to give the body what it needs when it needs it. For example, I did a lower body workout this morning, so I had a lot of my carbs pre and post workout. That is going to be important. And pillar number 4, most importantly, arguably, is that you're consuming the right amount of calories for you and for your individual goal. Now, there's so many calculators out there online if you're unsure how to actually calculate your maintenance calories. So if you wanted to search TDEE calculator, you'll get a very, very accurate answer. But what I always say just to start out is whatever your body weight is in pounds, multiply that by 10 to 12 if your goal is fat loss, and that'll be your daily calorie target. Continuing on with our metabolic reset, pillar number 5 is going to be supplements. Now, supplements, again, they're supplemental, they are not compulsory. But with that being said, there are a few key ones that I recommend for a one-on-one client. So starting out with protein. Again, most of our clients are not consuming enough protein. So I recommend a whey protein isolate or a whey protein supplement. Personally, I use the brand Sunwire vegan protein because I do not digest dairy very well. Supplement number 2 is going to be creatine monohydrate, the most scientifically backed supplement to enhance your performance and your power in the gym. Number 3 is going to be, if you want to improve your sleep, 2 things before bed are going to be really important. That's going to be ashwagandha and also magnesium citrate. And then 2 other ones that are important, especially if you're living in somewhere like Ireland where there's not a lot of sunshine, vitamin D, okay, and also omega-3, a good quality omega-3. And finally, pillar number 6 of the metabolic reset is not eating at least 3 hours before bed. This is not compulsory. That's not to say that eating after 6 p.m. makes you fat or even after 7 p.m. makes you fat. Just what we have found from a coaching experience that most of our clients who tend to ever binge eat, it often happens after 6 or 7 in the evening. So if you have a hard cutoff time that whatever time is you go to bed usually, take away 3 hours from that and stop eating before then. So if you're in bed at 10:30, stop eating by 7:30, that'll be the latest cutoff point, okay? And when it comes to tracking the data, you gotta track and measure your calories for at least 30 days again so you know exactly what's coming in and what's going out. In fact, I was interviewing some of our most successful clients, and one thing they found is very helpful was they pre-log their food 1 day in advance. So in other words, do not go to bed today without knowing what you're going to eat tomorrow. It doesn't mean you have to have all your meals prep done, but if you just log into your MyFitnessPal, okay, tomorrow is, let's say, Wednesday. I'm going to consume these amount of calories, this food, and are you hitting your calorie goal? Are you hitting your macronutrient goal? If not, what do you need to add or take away to make sure you're doing so? And by the way, if you want to see a sample of our metabolic priming diet, just message me on Instagram. It's Adrian_MacLifestyleFitness, and just message me MPM Diet YouTube and I'll send it straight over for free. So now that we've reset the metabolism, it's time to build it. And that's why pillar number 2 is important. It's called performance activation. So it's built on 4 key areas. First of all, you want to follow a progressive strength training program, okay? Muscle is more metabolically active than fat, meaning the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you will burn at rest. So you want to focus on progressively overloading, okay? Gradually add more weight to the bar every single week. If you lift the same, you're going to look the same. Next of all, it's going to be prioritize the compound lifts. If you're watching this, you're probably a career-driven professional, you don't have a whole lot of time. So you want to maximize the amount of time that you have in the gym by doing compound lifts, things like bench press, chin-ups, deadlifts, rows, barbell back squats, reverse lunges, rear foot elevated split squats. Basically any exercise that trains more than one muscle group at once. And what we like to use with our clients also is metabolic supersets, okay? We call this our metabolic resistance training program. So for example, you can actually superset where you do one exercise, go straight into another exercise and then rest, and you can get double the amount of volume in the exact same number of time. Now what we like to do when it comes to superset is we like to do opposite muscle supersets. So for example, pairing a chest with a back exercise tends to work well. Just like pairing a bicep with a tricep exercise can work well. Just like pairing something like a quad exercise with a hamstring exercise. All of these supersets can work well where essentially while one muscle is working, the other is resting and vice versa. Now, after performing metabolic resistance training, okay, I used to think that the job was done after 1 hour in the gym. But honestly, one of the biggest changes I made over the last 5 years is just walking my way to getting leaner, okay? So we recommend our clients, they're usually sitting at a desk all day, to get at least 6,000 steps if you're human, 8,000 if you want to push it, and over 10k, that's where you're really optimizing the fat loss, okay? But just some simple ways to increase your steps are: number 1, get out for a morning walk. Good for the body, good for the mind. Number 2, invest in a walking pad if you actually work from home quite a lot. And just number 3, it's like park your car further away. Start to walk more. Take walking breaks in between. Or very, very simple even, just go for a 10-minute walk after every single meal. If you have 4 meals a day, you go for 4 10-minute walks, that's already going to be 4,000 steps, okay? But with all that being said, I do believe you need to do some form of cardio, which is the third pillar of the metabolic resistance training, because a lot of people say, okay, you don't need to do cardio to lose belly fat, okay? It's not compulsory at all. But if you want to know what is the biggest predictor of your longevity, which is how long you're going to live, it's the amount of lean muscle mass you have and also your VO2 max, which is your cardiovascular fitness. So yes, if you just care about dropping belly fat, you don't care about your health and longevity, sure, maybe you don't need to do cardio. But for most of our clients, they're parents, okay? They want to be able to walk their daughter down the aisle in the wedding day. And that's why longevity is so important. So we recommend our clients to get at least 60 minutes of zone 2 cardio per week. Now, zone 2 cardio is where it's essentially conversational cardio. If you do have a heart rate monitor or something like a Garmin watch or an Apple Watch, this will give you at least a rough estimate of what your heart rate is. But what you want to do is 180 minus your age. That's going to be your target heart rate. So for example, if you're 30 years young, 180 minus 30, that's going to be 150. 150 beats per minute, that's what we call your max aerobic power, okay? You do not want to surpass that for your zone 2 cardio. So this could be something like, 60 minutes per week. It could be 2 30-minute sessions where you go on the bike, you go on the treadmill, okay, you use the elliptical, whatever your preferred form of cardio is, just make sure you enjoy it. And then as well as this, you can also do high intensity interval training, okay? It was very, very popular about 10 years ago. I do believe it has its place because it will train your max heart rate where you're essentially exerting yourself as hard as possible for a short duration of time. There's so many ways to do HIIT training. So it could be something like, imagine you go to a local football field and you sprint the narrow bits, okay, or the width, and you jog the length, and you do that for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. My preferred way though, if you're doing it in the gym, is just go on an assault bike and do 10 seconds of max effort as hard as you can, push as hard as you can, go for max power and take about a 50-second rest, okay? That's going to be 1 minute per set and do anywhere from 10 to 20 sets, okay? And then the final pillar of the performance activation phase is actually recovery. In my opinion, it's actually very, very difficult for most people watching this to overtrain, but very, very easy to under-recover. And there's so many recovery protocols out there, like ice baths, like cold plunge, like sauna and so on. But do not neglect the biggest rock, and that is going to be your sleep. So one thing we recommend our clients to optimize their sleep is follow the 10-3-2-1-0 rule. What that means is 10 hours before bed, cut or eliminate caffeine. 3 hours before bed, as I already mentioned, stop eating. You don't want to be digesting food in your sleep. 2 hours before bed, do not drink any liquids. You don't want to be getting up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom. And then 1 hour before bed, try to reduce or eliminate electronics and also try to stop working. Finally, the 0 is 0 snooze button the following morning, because why? You do not want to start the day with a lose, or a loss, shall I say, and actually hit the snooze button. So never hit the snooze button. Always keep the promises you make to yourself. So now that we've reset the metabolism through your diet, we've rebuilt the strength through your training, this is going to lead to phase number 3, and that's going to be your body transformation phase. So body transformation is where you reach your ideal body weight. Now, how long this is going to take, it's going to be completely different for every individual person. At Max Lifestyle Fitness, we promote our 10% rule. Essentially what that means is, in 90 days or roughly 3 months, you don't want to lose any more than 10% of your total body weight. So for example, if you're 90 kilograms, okay, come the end of your first 3 months, you don't want to be any lower really than 81 kg. Could you go faster? Yes. But remember, there's a difference between weight loss and fat loss. I'm speaking about fat loss here, not weight loss. Weight loss is where you literally lose number on the scale, okay? And that's why so many people, they lose weight very, very quickly. But the problem is, a lot of the weight they lose is actually muscle mass. And this slows down their metabolism and causes them to regain the weight. I'm sure if you're watching this video, which I'll speak about in a moment, you don't want to just lose weight and regain it. You want to keep it off. That's why the 10% rule is a really good metric of how much weight you should be losing. Generally speaking, we like to recommend our clients to lose anywhere from 2 to 4% of their body weight per month. But generally, over the course of 3 months, okay, 10%, no more than 10% per 3 months. So if you need to lose more than 10% of your body weight, then give yourself just more time. If you need to lose 20% of your body weight, give yourself at least 6 months, okay? Sure, it's a longer approach, but I promise you, in the long run, it's going to be worth it, okay? So how body transformation occurs is when you do the first 2 things consistently over time. So you're following the metabolic priming diet, you're following the principles, you're dialed in with your nutrition, you're dialed in with your whole foods, okay? You're strength training consistent, you're in a moderate calorie deficit, you're carb cycling. We might structure in some refeed or some diet breaks. What we like to do with our clients is something like 5 weeks in a calorie deficit and 1 week of maintenance to prevent metabolic slowdown. But when you do that consistently, okay, you will reach your ideal body weight over time, provided you do not quit. But then, of course, the final thing is, how do you actually keep the weight off long term? So when you do the first 2 things consistently, body transformation occurs. But I promise you, you've probably got in shape before, right? But you haven't been able to maintain it. This is because no one ever speaks about the reverse, the rebuild, and the recomp phase, which is pillar number 4, okay? So essentially what we call is lifestyle integration. How do you actually integrate this into your lifestyle so it's a sustainable weight loss phase? The first thing is reverse, rebuild, and recomp. What that means is you want to reverse your calories slowly. So for example, I did a photo shoot about 10 weeks ago. My calories for the photo shoot were 25 to 2700. Now I'm consuming 3500 calories, okay? About 800 extra calories per day. I have not gained any excess weight. Now, that didn't happen by chance because I reverse dieted. I slowly increased my calories over time because you do not want to be dieting forever, okay? A calorie deficit is required to lose weight, but you don't want to be in a calorie deficit for the rest of your life. You also have to give your body a chance to rebuild, okay? To actually build strength. That's why even if you're not a body builder, there is an element of building which is required to go through. That's why the reverse and the rebuild phase is really important. So what we like to do with our clients is just gradually, slowly nudge up the calories. Something like 100 to 150 calories per week. We monitor, track the data. This is so important, okay? So you got to track the data. What data do we track? So first of all, track your morning weight every single morning, okay? After you use the bathroom, before you eat or drink, track the scale weight. Where focus goes, energy flows. Second thing we track is our calories. If you're not assessing, you're simply guessing. Track your logbook. During the reverse and rebuild phase, you know you're doing well if your weights are increasing in the gym, but your body weight isn't changing a whole lot. That's a really good sign that you're building muscle and you're not gaining a whole lot of fat, okay? Then other things are, take your progress pictures. One of my clients caught here, I'll show you on screen. Like he went from 25 to 15% body fat, but there's only something like a 6 kilo difference there, which even for me as a coach was hard enough to believe. But that's why your weight in the scale, it only paints one part of the picture, not the full picture. Whereas body composition is the ratio of muscle to fat that you have. And just finally then, make sure you're logging your weights in the book, which you already mentioned. So you're tracking your weight, you're tracking your calories, and you're taking your progress pictures. And if there's one thing you get from the video, above all else, it's like, this is an identity shift. Just think of the person you want to become. If you ask me, do I want to smoke? Do I want a cigarette? I'm going to say no. I am not a smoker. Okay, I do not smoke, so I wouldn't even think about it. And what you want to do is you want to become the best version of yourself, become a fitter individual, okay? You don't want to just run. The goal is to become a runner. And how you do that is how you shift your identity. You vote with your actions, okay? You vote with your actions above all else. So if you show up consistently and every single day you hit the gym when you say you're going to do it, every morning you do not hit the snooze button, every day you stick to the diet when you say you're going to do it, that is how you build your self-confidence, and that's how essentially you change your life over time. It's not just one day, okay? The effort of going to the gym once, the effort of eating a salad, if you want to call it once, it's not nearly as hard as the effort of just staying consistent. So if you see this as an infinite, not a finite game, there's no winner or loser here in fitness. You don't ever win the game of fitness. The goal of this game is to keep on playing. And for me, honestly, I went from a place where I hated it, hated how I looked, didn't like, wasn't happy with myself in the mirror, to now it's like, I don't even think about it. This just happens on default. It's like, it's just part of who I am. It's part of my day-to-day. And that's essentially the identity shift where we coach our clients on a Mac Lifestyle Fitness. And this will work for you. This 4-step process will work, okay? So just to recap, the metabolic reset, then you got performance activation, body transformation, and lifestyle integration, okay? And if you do that consistently, you can get in insane shape. This helped one of our one-on-one clients, Aiden. Age 51, thought he had a slow metabolism, thought he was too old. He lost over 20 kilograms. Over 20 kilograms, okay, in roughly 8 months. This helped Tamim, a medical doctor, working 16 hours a day, go from 22 to 11% body fat. This helped Paul, an executive, okay, 7.7 kilos he lost in his first 90 days, despite traveling to 7 different countries in 10 days alone, okay. Davey, a busy dad of 4, okay, he got to 12% body fat, I would say, in roughly 6 or 7 months. Built as lean as ever physique for a photo shoot. So there's nothing like special about these men here, these clients you see on screen. Okay, but one thing they are is they're very, very consistent. They have a set routine to follow, and they stayed and they follow the path. Okay, a lot of you watching, okay, you're able to do it once, but you're not able to sustain it. And again, that's why the mindset, the identity shift is probably the most important element for coaching. Okay, so that is all for this video. Essentially, you should know now how to lose the 20 pounds, and most importantly, keep it off. If you follow these principles, I promise you, it's harder for you not to fail than to fail once you stay consistent. But if you do need help with that consistency, often remember say is that like they're not really accountable to anyone bar themselves. So if they don't get up in the morning, there's no one there saying, you know, you got to get up. Respectfully, your wife or your partner is probably not going to be saying, they're probably going to tell you you're fine the way you are. But if you want someone to push you outside of your comfort zone, see yourself in a way you haven't seen before. That's why we offer one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in working with me and my team, I'll post a link to my one-on-one coaching below. Fill out a short form, book a call with me or a member of my team, and we can see if it might be a good fit for you. But that is all for this video. Just finally, please make sure I'm posting content every single week. And if you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy this education style content, or if you're listening to the podcast, the Lifestyle Lifters Show, and you like more episodes like this, just please make sure you subscribe and share with a friend, okay? That is all for this episode. If you do want that meal plan as well, be sure to hit me up on Instagram, Adrian_Mac Lifestyle Fitness, and I'll send it straight over to you. But until then, we'll see you in the next video.